All right, today we are diving into something really strange. It's this document that popped up out of nowhere called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. And what it claims to be is basically a blueprint for a totally new kind of war.
So, I want you to just think about this for a second. What if a global war was being fought right now? Not with bombs and bullets, but with things like data and economics. That's the core idea here. It's this concept of a totally invisible war happening on a battlefield that we're all on every single day, the economy.
And the way this thing was supposedly found is just as bizarre as what's inside it. We're talking 1986. Some guy who works at Boeing buys a used IBM copier and, boom, inside he finds this document. It wasn't leaked by a whistleblower or declassified, it just appeared. And that whole found object story is a huge part of what makes it so creepy and fascinating.
So what is this thing? Well, it claims to be a genuine top-secret training manual, a playbook, really, for some kind of powerful, unnamed elite group.
Get this, the manual is dated 1979, but it opens by saying that a Third World War had already been going on for 25 years. It calls it the Quiet War, and says it started way back in 1954. And this war wasn't about capturing land or anything like that. No, it was about controlling how people think and act.
Okay, so if this crazy war started in the 50s, how? I mean, what's the backstory? Well, the document actually lays out a pretty specific timeline, and it's all about combining military thinking with brand new technology.
So if you look at this timeline, you can see how they claim it all came together. First, during World War II, you have this thing called operations research, basically using math to manage military logistics super efficiently. Then, right after the war, bam, you get the first computers, new math techniques, and the transistor. And then you see a powerful group like the Rockefeller Foundation funding economic research at Harvard. The manual claims that all these pieces were put together to create a new science of controlling society, and then in 1954, they were ready to hit go.
All right, so if there's a war, there have to be weapons, right? But here's the twist. The weapons in this war aren't physical. You can't see them or touch them. They're ideas. They're systems designed to manipulate whole societies without anyone even realizing it.
The manual makes this really sharp distinction. Think about it. A normal weapon, it shoots bullets. It uses gunpowder. A general gives the order. But a silent weapon, it doesn't shoot bullets. It shoots situations. It's not propelled by gunpowder, it's propelled by data. And the order doesn't come from a general, it comes from a banking tycoon.
And this is what makes it so terrifyingly effective, at least according to the document. The weapon is so complex, so hidden in plain sight that the public literally cannot understand that they're being attacked. You know, people might feel like things are getting worse, that something's wrong, but they can't point to the weapon. They can't see the enemy. And if you can't see it, how can you possibly fight back?
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the sort of science behind all this. Because the core of the manual is built on this really wild idea that an entire economy behaves just like an electrical circuit.
Yeah, you heard me right. They literally map electrical engineering terms onto economics. So capital, like money and stocks, that's capacitance, because it stores value. The flow of goods, production, that's conductance. And then you have the population, our habits, the services we provide, that's inductance. It's like the social inertia, the thing that resists change.
And you can see how they visualize this with a diagram straight out of the manual itself. They break it down so that a single industry is just one simple block in a bigger circuit. It's got its inputs and it's got its one main output.
And from there, it's pretty easy to see where this is going. They start connecting these individual industry blocks together, and suddenly they claim you can map out the entire national economy. It's no longer a messy, unpredictable thing. It's a complex but ultimately predictable electronic circuit. And if something is predictable, it's also controllable.
So, okay, you've got your map. You see the economy as this giant circuit board. Now what? How do you actually use that to wage your quiet war? Well, the manual lays out a specific strategy it calls shock testing. And the process is pretty cold and calculated. Step 1, you pick a basic item, something everyone needs, and you suddenly mess with its price or availability. Think about a sudden spike in the price of gas, for instance. Step 2, you just watch. You monitor how people react, what they buy, what they stop buying.
Step 3, you feed all that data into your computers to analyze the shock waves rippling through society. This tells you where the weak spots are, where people are vulnerable. And the final step, you use that knowledge to predict and control how people will react to the next shock.
But here's the thing, hitting people in the wallet is only one part of the plan. The other, maybe even more important part, is what they call the diversion strategy. And this is a whole list of things. Keep entertainment super simple, like below a 6th grade level. Keep people busy, so they have absolutely no time to think. Flood the media with sex and violence to distract them. Get them arguing about things that don't really matter to pull their attention away from the real issues. And, maybe most importantly, undermine the education system so people can't think critically.
So after all this, the economic shocks, the diversions, what's the endgame? What is the ultimate goal of this decades-long quiet war? Well, the document is brutally honest about it. The goal is, and I'm quoting here, to permanently shifting the natural and social energy, wealth, of the undisciplined and irresponsible many into the hands of the self-disciplined, responsible, and worthy few. I mean, it's right there in black and white. The goal is a massive, permanent transfer of wealth and power to a tiny, self-appointed elite. So at the end of the day, what are we looking at here? Is this a real, leaked manual for controlling the world, or is it an incredibly detailed fictional warning? The truth is, there's no proof either way. It's a total mystery. But since it surfaced, it's become a cornerstone for a lot of conspiracy theories about who's really in control. But you know, whether it's real or fake almost doesn't matter. The ideas in it are so powerful, they really force you to look at the world and ask, how much is happening right in front of us that we just can't see? And what could that mean for our future?